next day went to the closet and took out the clothes that he hadn't painted on. I guess when he went back upstairs, he had just like, it looked like what he had done is dip his hand in a bucket of paint and just wiped it on my clothes. Just went, and he had picked up another portion of my clothes and put them in the bathtub. And I don't know if he added paint or if he just had touched them with paint, but it was this ugly navy blue brown paint. I packed what was packable, what hadn't been destroyed, and eventually left Australia with Ben King, who you met on the way there.
Let me stop you there because I want to ask you some more questions about those 3 days, and then we can talk about Ben King and going home. So, do you recall what bottle Mr. Depp was drinking from and then had that back and forth with you and you threw on the ground?
Objection, Your Honor. Compound leading.
Sustained.
Do you recall what the bottle was?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you recall whether it was wine or liquor?
It was liquor. The wine was upstairs.
Okay. Do you recall
Excuse me.
what color
Excuse me.
it was?
Well, I believe it was white, clear, but I can't be certain. I think it was clear.
Do you remember whether it had a handle on it or not?
No, it was a normal bottle. I remember because he was holding it like this and gestured to me to take it. And I did try to reach for the bottle. It was a normal size, but for the life of me, I can't remember like what brand.
Okay. When you woke up that third morning and came out of your room, what, if any, food did you see?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Overruled.
There was mashed potatoes smeared all over the bedroom door, on the wall, in various places. But I remember opening the door and being really confused at first as to what it was. It had little like specks of green in it, I assumed to be spinach. And throughout the house, there was food rubbed in places, just countertops, walls, doors, as I mentioned. And later that evening, I found the raw meat that I had left out, the steak, all over the house. There were pieces of it. It was cut up. And he had ripped my nightgown into pieces, into shreds, and wrapped the meat up, like wrapped the steak pieces up with my nightgown. It was this really beautiful burgundy silk nightgown that had this black lace trim. I ironically got it from Dr. Kipper for a wedding gift. And it was wrapped, I found it, I continued to find it throughout the rest of the time that I was in the house in Australia. There's pieces of it in the microwave, pieces of it in the produce drawer, in the closet drawer. I mean, just raw meat wrapped up in my nightgown, as well as the smeared food on the walls. It was bizarre.
What, if anything, do you recall seeing on any mirrors?
Oh, he had written on the bathroom mirrors in the bedroom, and I believe he had, there was another mirror. I just don't recall which bathroom it was in. I suppose it was the one that I went to, which is on the very bottom level, where I was retching, for lack of a better way to describe it. I think it was in that bathroom that he also wrote on that mirror as well.
What, if anything, do you recall?
In blood and paint, sorry.
I'm sorry. What, if anything, do you recall of any lampshades being written on?
Well, he wrote on messages to me, you know, things to the effect of go-getter, you know, horror sort of thing, like that sort of language, but calling me easy, calling me a slut, calling me, you know, like just things about ego and what a whore I was, it was hard to make sense of it because it was clear he was just out of his mind. It was, I mean, he wrote on a back of a pillow in blood, and you can tell because it dries like in this ugly brown color. He wrote on the walls going downstairs. Like, it took in fact, you could see where it looked like he had run out of blood because the messages became, the markings became clearly letters. And the letters kind of became, like I could see where he had clearly run out of blood or it wasn't bleeding enough and went and got paint. And then it became paint and blood. You could see both. You could see where he went back with it. Same with the mirrors. I could see where all the dried blood was. And then I could see a different set of markings with paint and some other material.
So I'm going to go back to the time in the bar, and I know this is very painful. Do you recall what Mr. Depp was saying to you when he had the bottle and was pushing it against your pubic bone?
He said that he would fucking kill me. I'll fucking kill you. He said it to me over and over again. He said, I'll fucking kill you.
Did you bleed from the vagina as well?
I did.
And did you experience any pain later?
I wasn't thinking about that. I was heartbroken. Eventually, I realized that I could be hurt because I was bleeding. But I convinced myself it wasn't broken and that the bottle wasn't broken or else it would be a lot worse. And the discomfort I was feeling afterwards just paled in comparison to how scared, shocked I was. I'm scared. I just married this man. I just married him.
And forgive me for asking this, but I need to just make sure the record's clear. You were penetrated up the vagina into the pubic bone, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Sustained.
What, if any, penetration was there in your vagina with the bottle?
I can't believe
I'm so sorry.
to do this.
I am so sorry.
Johnny had the bottle inside of me. And was shoving it inside of me over and over again.
Did you experience any cuts on other parts of your body?
My forearms were cut. My bottoms of my feet were sliced up pretty good.
Did you have any other bruising or swelling?
I had a bruise across my jaw, I suppose, from one of the many times he clocked me in the face downstairs. I think I just didn't make a record of anything else.
I'm going to ask you to turn to let's go to 1810. Well, actually, let's go to 1815. Michelle, if you can bring that up. Defendants 1815. And I think these are all in, Your Honor, so if we could publish.
Yes, they can all be published.
Is this the game table?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and is this, based on your testimony, is this where you were you on top of this table?
Yeah, that he briefly got on top of me, and was pushing on my throat, actually, at some point when I was on the table. I had forgotten about that. And this, though, looks like it is after a lot of the stuff was cleaned up, because it didn't look quite like this.
Okay, and did the table collapse?
Yes, it did.
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Sustained.
What, if anything, happened to the table?
The table collapsed underneath me when Johnny threw me into it and got on top of me, or fell on top of me. I honestly don't know which one.
If we could look at 1816, please, defendants. Do you recognize this, what's depicted in this picture?
Yes,
What is it?
it looks like the bottles that were by Johnny on the desk when I came down that last morning, and he was still up, still drinking.
If we could go to defendants 1817.
The bottle shape. The bottle shape.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't, I have not,
Go back to 1816, please.
Your Honor,
I had,
confused. Is there a question?
I have
You want to ask a question?
What more do you recall?
you had, sorry, it took me a minute to respond because it's hard. It took me a minute to respond because I had not remembered seeing the bottle that Johnny was using on me. I didn't have a memory of seeing it. And this picture, I wasn't aware of until just the other day, yesterday, the day before. And I felt my stomach tighten up, like I was going to be sick when I saw it. Because even though I didn't remember seeing the bottle, what I had remembered is a pressure, like something square, which is why I thought he was punching me. I was feeling the square, something firm hitting me, like butting up against my pubic bone. Over and over again, I felt that pressure against my bone. It felt like a flat surface. But when I realized it was an object or bottle and not his fist, which is what I thought, because his arm, I could see his arm while he was holding me down, saying he was going to kill me, but I thought he was, his arm looked like he was punching me. And I hadn't seen this bottle. I didn't know. And then this came out in Ben's evidence because he didn't share it until this date.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
And so I recognize it.
Okay. All right, now let's go to defendant